This is Peter Mowen demonstrating Embedded Systems Lab 8, an introduction to software timers in FreeRTOS. In this lab we had to create a timer in FreeRTOS that has an initial period of 5 seconds and is set to auto reload. At the start of the program, the LEDs are to display 1, 0, 0, 1, and when the timer expires, the LEDs are toggled to 0, 1, 1, 0, and then when the timer expires again, it goes back to 1, 0, 0, 1, and just keeps toggling back and forth. And we had to make it so that if button 0 is pressed, then the timer is reset. If button 1 is pressed, the period is set to 2.5 seconds. If button 2 is pressed, then the timer is stopped and the LEDs are set to zeros, just all zeros. They turns off the LEDs. And if button 3 is pressed, then the timer period is set back to 5 seconds and the LEDs are set to 1, 0, 0, 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and run as launch on hardware. There it goes. LEDs start at 1, 0, 0, 1, and they toggle every 5 seconds or so. A nice slow pace of 5 seconds. So if I press button 0, notice it is now taking another 5 seconds, and it's 5 seconds from the time I release the button. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I press button 1, it'll change the period to 2.5 seconds. So now you can see it is toggling every 2.5 seconds. If I press button 2, turns off the LEDs, stops the timer. And if I press button 3, LEDs go back to 1, 0, 0, 1, and toggle every 5 seconds. And so let me turn them off again, and if I were to press button 1 from it being off, it'll just start toggling from where it left off. Same thing if I press button 0 from the off state. Just starts toggling from where it left off. And notice that this is toggling at 2.5 seconds. Button 0 just resets the timer. So I had pressed button 1, set the period to 2.5 seconds, stopped the timer, turned off the LEDs, and then pressed button 0, which just restarted the timer whose period had been set to 2.5 seconds.